on Sky News Business. This is Business Class.
Hi, I'm James Wilkinson and welcome to Business Class. This week's show is coming to you from Washington, D.C. Before we show you some top spots the US Capitol has to offer right now, here's this week's travel news. In travel news this week, American Airlines has become the latest travel company to eliminate single-use plastic straws. From November, American will remove plastic straws on aircraft and in lounges, and will instead offer a biodegradable, eco-friendly straw and wooden stirring stick. American will also begin transitioning to all eco-friendly flatware within lounges. With these changes, American will eliminate more than 32,000 kilograms of plastic every year. The airline has a long history of making sustainable decisions, both on the ground and in the air. The plan is to reduce its impact on the environment through its initiative to reduce the amount of plastic used on board its planes and in its lounges. American's onboard environmental sustainability efforts go back to 1989, when the airline's flight attendants started the industry's first onboard recycling program. Virgin Australia is set to launch direct flights between Newcastle and Auckland, becoming the first airline in 16 years to do so. Virgin Australia will operate 3 return services per week using Boeing 737 aircraft during the peak holiday period from November 22 to February 17. In hotel news, TFE Hotels has opened the doors of the new Adina Apartment Hotel Brisbane, which offers views over the Brisbane River and interiors that transport guests back to the grandeur of the early 20th century. On the corner of George and Elizabeth Streets in the city centre, this beautiful new hotel is housed in a restored heritage-listed building that was completed in 1922 to accommodate the Queensland Government Savings Bank. The hotel now offers 222 luxurious rooms and suites and includes an extra 5 levels designed to complement the historic building, with expansive views and balconies for many of the rooms. The banking hall has been transformed to accommodate a new hotel lobby and restaurant, with a bar below in the former bank vault. The hotel also features a gym and a heated pool. Greater Washington, D.C. is home to some of the world's top hotel chains, including Hilton. We stopped by last week to catch up with CEO Chris Nassetta to talk about innovation, sustainability, business travel trends, and much more. Thanks so much for your time today. We're here in just outside Washington, D.C., and a very popular place for business travelers. How is Hilton globally appealing more to business travelers?
Well, I think like all of our travelers, it's about creating a personalized experience for business travelers. So there's a bunch of things that we're doing in the innovation area with a understanding that Hilton has sort of pioneered the business for the last 100 years, and in a lot of ways invented the business of business travel and hotels for business travelers as you know it today. And so some of the things that we're working on are about taking the friction out of the experience and then personalizing the experience to make it a more appealing experience. So some of the things we're doing with taking the friction out of the experience relate to like digital check-in, room selection, in a digital format, and then digital keys. So the one thing we know that 100% of our customers have to do 100% of the time they stay with us is check in, select a room, and actually get in and out of their room. And so by having an experience that is seamless in terms of being able to do it all digitally, including using your phone to open your room, you're taking a whole lot of friction out of the system for customers. The other thing we're doing, in addition to taking friction out, is being able to personalize the experience more. So we just launched earlier this year what we call Connected Room, which is basically imagine when you walk into a room, you know the room and the room knows you. So that you have in the palm of your hand with your device the ability to control your experience. Not only can you get in the room, but all of your video content, your Spotify account, all of your music, your ability to control lighting, HVAC, and everything in the room service for that matter, is in the palm of your hand. It becomes your remote control for your TV. And so suddenly the experience that you have anywhere in the world that you stay with us is much like the experience, is consistent, and you don't have to figure this out everywhere you go where it's a little bit different. And all the things that you have in the comforts of your home that you're used to now that travel with you, you're able to utilize. And so this is something we're rolling out around the world starting this year, and we'll start to roll out, at mass scale next year. So those are a couple of things. It's all about the experience. We're in the business. Whether it's leisure travel or business travel, it's about making it a great experience, making sure that the product is what people want, that the service delivery is what people want, that the amenities are what they want, and that we connect it all with a base of technology that makes it seamless, easy, fun, and we're able to personalize the experience so that it makes their stay a better stay and an overall better experience.
And they're also staying with a very sustainable company as well, given everyone's talking now about plastic straws being banned. This is something you actually announced some time ago.
Yeah, I see a lot of news out there about it. We did it a long time ago, and I think that's the very beginning of what we're doing on the on the CR front. I mean, we just announced our new goals in the CR area, I guess about a month ago. And we have some pretty ambitious goals that we're trying to achieve by 2030 that involve doubling our social impact investing and halving our environmental impact. And plastic straws, plastic bottles, energy consumption, carbon output, overall waste output, use of water, those are all the core elements of how our industry impacts the environment, and how by utilizing really intelligent methods we can have a lesser impact on the environment. So we're really focused in those areas, and I think doing some really spectacular things, but more to come.
So you can actually help other companies' corporate social responsibility by them with the employees staying with you, because you are being very responsible versus them staying somewhere else at a hotel that's not looking out for things like single-use plastic.
Well, the truth is that our customers care about this. We did a study of our most loyal customers in our honors program, and tried to ask them basically, when you filter for decision making, and by the way, we asked non-honors members, so people that don't stay with us, do you care about the environmental, that the company you're buying from is environmentally responsible or is socially responsible? And the answer back was that the majority of guests, whether that's business travelers, leisure travelers, group business, they care. It's varying percentages, but it's a very large percentage of customers now that, as part of the filtration system for making a decision of who they're buying a product or service from, in our case, the product and service is a hotel room and the service that goes along with it, that they care about what we're doing from a social and environmental point of view. So it makes sense from the standpoint of being good for the business. The other thing that that matters is, particularly in the environmental side, that there's a huge ROI in being intelligent about environmental impact. Because think about it, if we're smart about it, the use of energy, carbon output, use of water, waste output, the more that we do to become efficient there, we're obviously having a tremendously positive impact on the environment. Having our impact environmentally over the between now and 2030 is going to have a big positive impact on the environment at our scale. But as we do it, our owners are going to be more profitable, because in the end, using less energy, putting less carbon out, using less water, putting less waste out, will ultimately, if we do it intelligently with best practices that get shared across the system, it's going to make us more efficient from an operating point of view. So it's a win. Customers like it. You ultimately can make more money for owners if you're intelligent about how you do it, and it's good for the environment. So it's really sort of a win on all fronts.
So very much leading the charge there in the industry. And Chris,
we have been trying to take a very much tip of the spear leadership position, whether it's straws, bottles. Those are wonderful and important things, but those are the tip of the iceberg in terms of the impact I think we can have.
So it pleases you that other groups are then following your lead and also doing it as well.
We don't get credit for it, but it does. Yes, of course it does. Hilton's been a leader in hospitality for 100 years, and our intent is to be a leader for the next 100.
You certainly are. And when you look at a few things, you're a road warrior yourself. Are there two or three things that you need in a hotel room that are essentials for you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, I think in a hotel room, you need a great bed, I think you need a great bathroom. I always say to our teams, like, having in a bathroom, lots of light, lots of water pressure, lots of hot water. That's imperative. In a bed, everybody wants to have a great bed. Everybody wants to have a great TV. Now we can give them their own content, so that can be what they want. And you ultimately need, a Wi-Fi that works, and you need places to plug in and charge. There are a whole bunch of other things that I think make for a great stay, but I think those are some of the fundamentals that matter the most to me.
And how well is the company doing those things, do you think?
I think we're doing well with those things. I think we can always do better, but I think we are really focused on sort of the basics, sort of the table stakes for me of what you need to do in a room in terms of comfort and functionality. And I think we're doing pretty well.
Wonderful. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, great to see you, James.
Thank you. Now it's time for this week's Foodie Files with Nesia Wilden.
Thanks, James. Well, I've been back in Adelaide checking out a few restaurants, and I just want to say, watch out Sydney and Melbourne, because the Adelaide dining scene has caught up to yours, and it's at 2/3 of the price. First, to a new yakitori bar, Show. That's the cute little offspring of hot CBD diner Shobosho. So, Show is Chef Adam Liston's tribute to Tokyo. It only has 8 seats and they're all ringside at the grill, so really it's just you, the grill guy, and a whole lot of really delicious things to eat on sticks. Now, because Adam is channeling Japan, that mainly means various cuts of chicken, though you can also get a few randoms like miso soup, a Wagyu kushiyaki, and something called a beef sando that I highly recommend. Suffice to say, Show is all rollicking good fun and, of course, terrific food. So, to 2KW in the heart of the city, and for the uninitiated, no, it's not a radio station. It's a rooftop bar and dining room at number 2 King William Street. Now, just last week, 2KW picked up the gong for Best Contemporary Restaurant at South Australia's Restaurant and Catering Awards. That was particularly good news for 2KW's new chef, Trent Lim. He joined in May, and he's taken the food in a somewhat different direction from its previous Mediterranean focus. So now you'll find a more on-trend menu. It takes in native ingredients and a few fermented bits and pieces, as well as influences from Japan and even Argentina, where Trent used to run his own restaurant. But the best news is that the food is wonderful, it's very accessible, and the produce is a show-off for the best of South Australia. Now please do yourself a favour and have something called the Shio Koji chicken. This is roast chicken reimagined with subtle Japanese flavours, lots of different textures on the plate, plus it even comes with chicken crackling. And yes, if you prefer to take your cocktails with a view, the outdoor terrace does open all through Adelaide's chilly winter. Finally, a quick mention of an Adelaide institution. That's Gaucho's in Goodger Street. It's an unpretentious steakhouse and it just keeps on getting better. They still haven't taken their eye off the ball, or should I say the meat. Not just the steak at Gaucho's, the lamb and the pork here can absolutely cut it with the best. But you don't have to take that from me. Gaucho's won Best Steakhouse at the State's Restaurant and Catering Awards last week. That's it from Foodie File this week. Now it's back to James Wilkinson in Washington after the break.
You're watching Business Class on Sky News Business. Welcome back to Business Class.
One of the leading hotels for business and luxury travellers here in Washington, D.C. is the Fairmont in Georgetown. Let's go inside. Well, we're here at the luxurious Fairmont in Washington, D.C. in Georgetown, and the hotel's had a bit of a makeover recently, hasn't it?
Well, just a little bit, just 27 million little bit. It's totally revitalized. The guest room product's been redone, but all of the public areas, meeting space, so we're really proud of the progress we've made there. One
of the most popular business travel hotels in the US capital, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the advantage we have is this location. We've got proximity to all the main buildings, of course, Capitol Hill, just down the road you've got Georgetown. So I think people in business these days love that balance of work hard, but also make sure they're entertained in the city. So it works well for us.
Now we're standing here up on the Fairmont Gold floor, and one of my favourite things about Fairmont is that offering and the lounge you guys have as well.
Yeah, it's very much that hotel within a hotel concept. It's something that works very well. Many of our hotels have it, and it's more of an exclusive experience, so people don't feel they're maybe in a larger hotel. Very personalized service, a private lounge area, so it works extremely well, especially in this market because you've got such a sophisticated traveler as well.
And some very well redesigned rooms up here as well.
Yeah, I mean, the suite we're standing in now, actually overlooking our courtyard, is just our stunning Georgetown suite, but even the rooms themselves, they've got upgraded amenities, they've got, of course, the finishes in the rooms are just second to none, so it's a very desired floor within the hotel.
And you've also got a restaurant downstairs and a pool and a few other great amenities here?
Yeah, you know, the hotel, as with many of the Fairmont hotels, the core group of hotels, we're full service hotels, swimming pool as you mentioned, balanced gym, which has CrossFit, it has yoga, it has personal instruction along with the usual exercise rooms, Juniper restaurant, which is our 3-meal restaurant, and as you walk in the lobby you get this sense of the lobby lounge. It's this all-encompassing experience, and guests go in there and that's that huge sense of arrival just drawn into the courtyard as well.
And what are some of the other ways you're looking after business travelers here in the hotel?
Well, I think as with most of our hotels in our company is very much focused on the conveniences, and you don't want to go over the top with that, but every room of course has all the technology you'd expect. From our perspective, I think it's that personalized service, and I think a lot of companies will say personalized, but that's really our training platform. The strength of Fairmont is that interpersonal skills, not just sort of machine as you walk in the door, but business travelers are looking for that experience.
So what are some of your favorite things about the Fairmont brand?
Well, you know, from the business traveler, it's multifaceted. We've got these great historic locations, hotels, but mixed in with all, of course, the needs of that business traveler. I think the food and beverage experience, and then you've got this global brand behind us as well, which gives us huge distribution access and sister properties that are probably different than people have experienced before. So that commonality across the brand, comfort of the experience, and again, that once they're inside the hotel, we know how to do business. It works very well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now let's head into the kitchens and see what's cooking here at the Fairmont in DC. All right, Chef, we're here at Juniper Restaurant in Washington, D.C. And what are some of your favorite things to cook with right now?
So my all-time favorite thing to cook with in DC is the Maryland crab, and to go along with that is this corn succotash that we use this locally sourced fresh zucchini and squash from one of our local farmers. We actually visited the farm about a month ago to go look and meet with the farmers and see this produce that we're getting, and it's a beautiful thing.
So you're able to get a lot of amazing produce from around the region here as well?
Yeah, it's a tri-state region between actually Maryland, Virginia, and actually parts of West Virginia that we get a lot of our produce from.
Okay, and how accessible is it for you? Obviously it gets very cold here in winter. How do you sort of get around a few issues like that?
It does get a little bit cold, but it's kind of a milder cold. You know, it's very doable. You know, there's certain things, the squash and zucchini, for example, is something that, you know, is best during the summer months. So we adjust our menus according to, you know, what we're able to get seasonally in that aspect.
And it's all about here, about from the sea, from the land. How would you describe the cuisine in Washington?
So the cuisine in Washington is very seafood oriented, but as far as the land, I mean, we get a lot of our great beef from actually Pennsylvania, and you know, as far as our restaurant here, I would consider ourselves modern American, but we have some Mediterranean flares to that. So a lot of good pork, a lot of good beef, as well as the seafood is very popular here.
And how's the dining scene here in DC at the moment?
The dining scene is great in DC. There's a lot of new restaurants coming out. Michelin Guide came here for the first time a couple of years ago. So it's really up and coming and making a name for itself.
So it makes it more of a challenge for you, being obviously in a hotel as well, having to offer something a little bit different in a hotel though?
Yeah, a little bit different, you know, but you know, like I said, just changing the menu with the ingredients and constantly pushing ourselves, pushing myself along with the team. I got a great team here, so it's just trying to keep up with the great dining scene here in the city. So
obviously well known for your room service as much as the restaurant here as well from a food standpoint.
Yes, and the same thing goes with room service. We change the menu. We try and change it about twice a year. And also you're able to order directly from the restaurant and room service, so that's a nice option as well. And our lobby bar is extremely popular. We just renovated the lobby last year, so it's become a big attraction, as well as the courtyard. So it gives guests plenty of good options.
And if you had to look at a few things on the menu, like you said before, what are some of your sort of favorite starters, appetizers, desserts at the moment we should be ordering?
So like I said at first, I would definitely recommend Maryland crab cakes. It's definitely our most popular. It's a good starter. It's our miniature crab cakes. It comes with 3, a nice corn succotash, along with that fresh zucchini and squash that I was talking about, along with some cherry tomatoes we get from a different farm as well that we're friends with them. That one, our seafood paella, our executive chef here, Jordi Gallardo, he's a Spanish chef, so we have a lot of Mediterranean influence, like I said, Spanish things. So the seafood paella would be a good one as well. You get half of a lobster, you get some fresh clams, little neck clams, mussels, calamari, and shrimp, all just tossed together in this beautiful rice stew. So those would be mine.
Pretty hard to go past the lobster paella, obviously, with being so close to the Atlantic here. It must be pretty nice most of the year.
It's really nice, The lobsters is not a far trip from Maine. We get all our lobsters from Maine. A lot of our oysters, especially, are caught right here in the Chesapeake Bay, along with some of our clams. So, it's great working near the coast, for sure.
Washington, D.C. is home to some of the best museums and galleries that America has to offer. Let's get the inside word now from one of the city's best concierges. All right, we're here in Washington, D.C., and so many amazing things to do in this city, and as far as I'm aware, almost everything here is free from a museum and gallery aspect, isn't it?
There is. The Smithsonian owns 17 of our museums. They all are complimentary to enter. Some are timed and some have queues, but overall they are all free and complimentary to the guests. There are a couple that are worth your value. So the Spy Museum is one of them. It's quite amazing. They have a James Bond exhibit that is actually supposed to be upgraded in their new location in 2019. There's also the museum, which is based on all the news around the world. They literally every morning have the cover of all the newspapers around the world right in front of their museum, so they entice guests to go in. And then also the National Geographic Museum currently has a Titanic exhibit and the Christ exhibit that is also worth your while and walkable from here.
Wonderful. What are some of your favorite free ones to go to? There are so many to choose from, but do you have a few favorites?
So a secret is actually the natural history. The National Gallery has a sculpture garden that's beautiful. They have a fountain during the summertime and spring, and in the winter they actually have an ice skating rink. So it transforms into a wonderland. And then the National Gallery has 2 wings. They have the East Wing and the West Wing, and they're both either modern or classic, and they all have really unique exhibits throughout the year.
If I've got a few hours between my meetings, I want to go and grab a bike and go for a bit of a bike ride, where would you send me?
Absolutely. So 1 block over and a mile away, there is a Lincoln Memorial. So that's the beginning of our National Mall. The National Mall is 2 miles wide, so you can take a leisurely ride up or down the mall and explore the other lovely sites, including the museums that will still be open.
Very easy town to get around, isn't it, in terms of being able to grab a bike or grab the metro and that kind of thing? We
are a walkable city. We really recommend guests to take a bike ride or walk, metro, or a quick Uber, type of town. So we are really a quick and easy, accessible town for any people that have very condensed time in their day.
When it comes to nightlife, it seems to be more and more rooftop bars have been opening in this town. Have you got a few favorites?
Yes, so there is the Hive, which is walking distance from here. Also the Graham, there is a rooftop bar, and then they are at other partnering hotels. So we like to mention them as an accessory to our lobby lounge. So
that's wonderful. And where would you send me for some live jazz or a nice meal?
So Blues Alley is in Georgetown, so it's about a 10-minute walk from here. They do have nightly shows, either at 8 or 10. So that is a classic DC institution. There's also great bars and restaurants within walking distance from the hotel, or you can take I call it drivable worthy places to eat around town.
Do you have a few restaurants where are kind of hot tables for you at the moment?
They do. So the Wharf right now is the biggest hot ticket in town. So Del Mar is really great. We really like them. We partner with them. There's also a couple of non-table worthy restaurants like the Compass Rose or the Royal that don't take reservations, but they partner with us. If we have a guest that wants to get in, they will accommodate them.
And you must get a lot of fun requests over the years. And have you got a bit of a favourite story here in DC of a request one time?
Well, you know, it just happened. So we had a guest who literally waited 6 hours for Hamilton tickets, and we surprised and delighted her with a welcome package of all of the things that she could do around town as a scavenger hunt. And she was just really blown away because she was literally in tears when she checked in. She waited 6 hours for these tickets. It was a graduation gift for her son, and it was really a moment where it all came full circle for her. So I think that, and that was very recent, and that's the most recent memory that we have, that we just kind of went above and beyond as far as making the city part of the experience as well, the hotel.
Well, that's it from us in Washington, D.C. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Business Class.